We start with some news stories, and Chief Justice Kwesi Yeboah will be retiring from his position on May 24 as he hits the retirement age of 70. Now, in accordance with Article 1441 of the 1992 Constitution, the President will be expected to appoint a new Chief Justice in consultation with the Council of State. But what goes into the appointment of Chief Justices, and what have been the conventions over the years? Lawyer Nisamwa Ado explains.
The nominating authority is the President. So the President, in his wisdom, will, and that's why he has to seek the, he has to consult the candidate. And he is not bound by the decision of the Council of State, but he has to consult. So the assumption is that, the presumption, the architecture is that once he refers the matter to the Council of State, the Council of State is supposed to advise him. And the Council of State will take a lot of things into account. Okay, because the Chief Justice's position is a very sensitive position. The person is head of the judiciary. He plays both a supervisory and an administrative oversight on the judiciary. The person is the chairperson of the General Legal Council. The person is also the chairperson of the Judicial Council. So those are very, very important appointments and positions that the person holds. The person is third in line when it comes to the hierarchy of our positions. You know that the President, then if the President, in the absence of the President, the Speaker of Parliament takes over. In the absence of the Speaker of Parliament, the Chief Justice becomes the acting President. You understand? So it is not correct. The only time is when issues of seniority will come in is when for one, and that you have to go to Article. You have to go to Article 1. One. So the Supreme Court. You have to go to Article. Yes, you have to go to Article 128.
Now, moving on to some more stories. Workers at the Tema Oil Refinery want government to revamp the refinery to save the economical challenges that the country is facing. Now, the workers Tuesday morning threatened to picket at the presidency if the end and embark on the series of demonstrations if government fails to yield to their demands.
You brought competent people here. They understand that control is a management function. And so they will put controls in place to make sure that the ordinary worker is more efficient and prudent in his decision. So once you bring incompetent board and incompetent management, this is the result you will get. And so the appointer of these executives, the appointers of this top management at the refinery must sit up. It should not be political expediency. They should not bring people here as a reward of political actions they did during campaign.
All that they keep on telling us is that they are on it, they are waiting for some information, they are sending information to the presidency to look at it. They keep on giving us stories. Our members are even losing trust in us. Our destiny is in our hands. There is a lot of problem with us. We can't pay our children's school fees. We can't feed our family. And as we've said, a lot of people are leaving the refinery.
Tour is our life. Workers, permanent workers, contract workers, national service. All the hardship you go through, no still no. You national service for any omu eye juma waha. You try your light money a day na. This is not what we bargained for.
Meanwhile, energy expert Ben Boachi says the demand is long overdue.
I think, this demand is long overdue. I understand those who were pushing the recent transaction that we heard about are not available to continue. We don't know what the back-end details are. But be it as it may, government at all times need to be in a position to ensure that such a strategic asset is functional and delivering value for the people of Ghana. And to see such infrastructure like waste, and other policy decisions that further undermine the operations of TOR are being championed, it really questioned, the kind of leadership that we have on, defending some of us, in the public space without financing. I mean, we have paid as citizens billions of cedis, to be able to bring TOR back in the past, 15 years through TOR debt recovery levy. TOR has become one of the entities where the more the debt you pay, the higher it goes. So we keep paying and the debt accumulates. And essentially, these are the reason why the debt accumulates, because you have staff and they are increasing by the day, they are recruiting. And at the same time, there is nothing to really keep the numbers as they are. And beyond that, also, the inefficiencies are enormous. People store their products, they get lost, and then the state has to find money to pay for it. I mean, the level of inefficiency is unacceptable. I don't think that any minister, any government official will see his or her own company go down the way we have let TOR to go. So I think really it's about leadership, and perhaps also poor citizenship, and all of us, poor journalism, everybody, because we do the news and ultimately we let go and then wait for the next cycle of the news, and citizens are not angry enough to demand that what we are paying for is actually put to good use. So they always come for the levy and abuse it, and then end of story, the cycle continues.
Let's do some more stories. The Gadambe Youth Action Against the Government has the support of a former Attorney General and current head of the Gadambe Council, Ni Aikoe Otu. He stated that the government's reactions to the demands of the people are appalling and disappointing. He was reacting to Tuesday's demonstration, which was part of a series of organized street actions against the abandoned La General Hospital and other projects.
Speak for themselves. All the issues that were worrying us were put down. La General Hospital is only one of the issues. The point they are raising is that the thing was working all right until it was demolished in the hope that we're going to get a new one. And since the demolition, nothing has happened yet. And so the people have nowhere to deal with their health issues. That is a great source of concern. Meanwhile, we see that the Agenda 11 projects are ongoing in the interland. They bring us video clips of so many hospitals and health facilities coming up under the Agenda 111. So why demolish a healthy institution which was performing, only to abandon it? It doesn't make sense to them. It's not only that, we have issues like the Accra Sempe schools. The school was there, all right, and then they decided to renovate it and turn it into other stories. And then they got somewhere and they just stopped. The children who attend all those schools are now struggling, finding other places to go. They have the same problem with the Salaga markets. That is the trading places for many women. It's been demolished. And up to now, nobody has bothered to reconstruct it. These are quite a number of issues. I mean, how do you expect the people to look after their children and find food on the table when they have no place to work? So there are quite a number of issues.
Let's stay on this issue, and you recall that the Gadambe youth are demanding the immediate reconstruction of the La General Hospital, among other issues from government. The group, which poured onto the streets to protest the continuous abandonment of the hospital project, have given government 2 weeks to respond favorably to their petition.
The Gandangme youth say enough is enough. This will not be the first time the youth will pour onto the streets to protest underdevelopment in their area and for the continuous abandonment of work on the now bare La General Hospital land since 2020. The residents are livid.
Long overdue, certain things that were promises in terms of the demolition of the La General Hospital, and our people from La are facing a lot of challenge. Our Simple School, the Salaga Market, and other relevant important issues like our language.
The 2-year timeline for completion of work on the project has long elapsed, yet the facility is yet to get off the ground. The demolished La General Hospital was intended to provide better and advanced health care for residents and those within the enclave. Residents have since been left without a choice but to travel to 37 or Lekma for basic health care.
I'm a taxi driver and now have to take patients round, and sometimes they die on the way.
The project, which will be undertaken by a Chinese company, Poly Chanda, is being financed by a credit facility from Standard Chartered Bank of the United Kingdom with an export credit guarantee from Sino-Shore of the People's Republic of China to the tune of 68 million euros. It's been 3 long years and work is yet to commence. While the wait is on, building materials are being taken out.
The woods, iron rods, and cement have all been taken out. Even yesterday, they came for wood.
You demolished the place only to come and tell us that there's no money.
Not only is the abandonment affecting healthcare, small business owners around the facility have shut down. One of them is Hajia Mustafa. She has been home for over 2 years until she figured out what next.
All the containers are rotten. The items are destroyed. I stayed home for 2 years, 6 months.
The Gandangme youth are up in arms with the health ministry over the matter, but they are not backing down. Their frustrations have hit unprecedented levels. It was a protest to speak loudly through words and actions, but these placards perhaps spoke loudest. Deputy Chief of Staff on behalf of government assured them some action would be taken.
Some of the issues they've raised are things that can be dealt with immediately. Those that are of a policy nature and of a more complex implementation nature, we would activate the relevant agencies to get work to it so that in as much as possible we get these things resolved very quickly and expeditiously.
But the assurance is they are back at it next Tuesday, April 25, a momentum they hope to sustain until they see some action.
Now, away from this, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association has agreed to the new deal offered by the Ministry of Finance to its pension funds on the alternative domestic debt exchange program. The Executive Secretary of CLOGSAG, Isaac Bampo Ado, disclosed this to our Labour correspondent, Daniel Opoku.
And on the investment portfolio of every scheme. But we, based upon our investment portfolio and what we're getting as coupon rates, we are okay from 2023 to 2028. That's if government will not renege on the agreements made so far. This is not organized thing of organized labor. Every scheme has got its investment portfolio. The investment portfolios of the schemes are not the same. So it's for every scheme to study the document that comes from the Ministry of Finance and see whether it will meet their requirements. We have studied it, and then we think from 2023 to 2028, we will not have any cash flow problem. And if you look at the proposals from Ministry of Finance, it says it is this proposal is within the MOU that was signed by Organized Labor and Ministry of Finance. So it's within. I'm saying this is for the Hedge Master Trust Occupational Pension Scheme established by Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOGSAG. Right. We have analyzed it, and it meets our requirements. Others too have to analyze it, and it depends on the sort of investment portfolio that they have. We, based on our investment portfolio, we can meet all our cash requirements.
But a crucial meeting by organized labor on Thursday, April 20, will determine the way forward if indeed the Finance Ministry will be able to make any inroads. The unions have outrightly rejected the Finance Minister's overtures and consider using pension funds of workers in an alternative restructuring program.
Made public on Friday, signed by Ken Oforiatta after meeting with pension fund managers, urged the Board of Trustees of pension funds to allow the monies to be included in government's new proposed debt restructuring offer. The new program is aimed at alleviating the cash constraints on the government in the coming years while fully compensating the pension funds for the value of their current holdings. But the latest information appears to have incurred the wrath of organized labor, which has been restating its position. The pension funds must not be touched. Deputy General Secretary of the Trades Union Congress, TUC, Joshua Ansa, says government must not vary the terms of a memorandum of understanding jointly signed by the parties in December 2022.
In the sense of any relationship, I think that it's best for one party to call on the other party that maybe I'm making reference to the MOU signed that we'll be doing A, B, C, D. So we are now ready. Come and let's talk. But if that has not come, and one party sits somewhere and says that he's referring to the MOU and he started bringing an option, I don't think it's very fair. In any case, we have stated in the original MOU, which said that our pensions has been exempted, and you know the reason why we fought for that exemption from this debt exchange program, and we are still standing by it.
The arrangement we have between government and organized labor was that pension funds will not be touched. Period. I want to assure our members that, look, we stand where we stood the last time, and the position has not changed.
For the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, government's lack of engagement over the proposed alternative domestic debt exchange program is one of the reasons they will reject it.
We have stated time and again that we believe that it's important to look for alternate ways than to consider using the pension funds of Ghanaian workers. But for so long as the fund managers have been invited, the position of UTAG remains the same, that we cannot be part of this and pension funds should be exempted totally.
Now, judgment on the J.B. Dankwa murder case is likely to further delay after a revelation from the judge, Her Ladyship Lydia Osei-Mafo, that the jury had not been paid their allowances since March 2022. She was delivering a judgment on a mini-trial after the substantive trial was put on hold.
The judgment of the mini-trial, the Justice of the High Court noted the statements the accused persons offered to the police, which were tendered during the mini-trial by the prosecution, remain voluntarily given. Although the main trial is expected to resume after the mini-trial, Her Ladyship Lydia Osei-Mafo said she has received a letter from the jury notifying her of their absence and staying away over the non-payment of allowances due them since March 2022, making transportation to and from the court difficult. The court was unable to give any particular date for adjournment, but hoped the situation would be addressed before April 27.
Let's do some international news now. And residents in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, have found themselves trapped in a war zone. Fighter jets and attack helicopters have been flying low overhead as gun battles and bombings shake the city streets. Now, fightings between Sudan's army and the paramilitary group and Rapid Support Forces, RSF, have intensified. The threat to civilians is magnified by the particular geography of Khartoum. Now, key strategic sites which are being targeted, such as military buildings, are close to residential areas. Now, a Russian court has rejected the appeal of U.S. journalist Ivan against his pre-trial detention. He appeared in court in Moscow on Tuesday, and the first time he had been seen in public for weeks. He was arrested in the city while working for the Wall Street Journal newspaper and charged with spying. Now, he stood with folded arms in a bulletproof glass enclosure, wearing jeans and a blue checked shirt. Now, he gave a quick smile while standing calmly, but did not say anything to the reporters present. The court rejected his legal team's offer to free him on bail of 50 million rubles or put him under house arrest. Now, he will stay at a former KGB prison until 29th May at least. And that's all for the 6 a.m. news here on TV3. My name is Judith Awoche Tando.